step back in time to a place frozen in the golden glow of the 1960s. Imagine walking through the front door of a home from that era. It's a blast from the past, full of color, charm, and creativity. The 1960s were bold, a time of freedom. And that spirit echoed inside every room. Homes moved away from the rigid designs of the 1950s. Now, open floor plans, big windows, and unusual shapes took over. Everything felt more casual, more social. Let's take a nostalgic journey and peek inside a typical 1960s home. The living room was the heart of the 1960s home. And nothing stood out more than the wallpaper. Bold patterns, bright florals, geometric shapes. Walls weren't shy. They made a statement. Furniture was sleek and stylish, what we now call mid-century modern. Think Eames chairs, Danish teak sideboards, and kidney-shaped coffee tables. Couches and chairs came in vibrant shades of orange, green, and yellow. Wood accents completed the look. And what's that sound? A vinyl record spinning in the corner. Every home had a record player, often hidden inside a wooden console. Slide it open and you'd find a stack of LPs ready to play. Music filled the air. So did smoke. Yes, smoking was common. Ashtrays sat on coffee tables or next to Dad's recliner, sometimes in their own little smoking stand. Unique design features one of the trendiest features of the 1960s. The sunken living room is just a few steps down, and you're in a cozy, intimate space. Perfect for conversations, relaxing, or entertaining friends. If the house had a conversation pit, you knew it was cutting-edge style. Nearby, a wooden magazine rack often stood by, holding the latest issues of Life, Woman's Day, or Boy's Life. These weren't just for reading. They were proudly displayed for guests to see. Evenings meant family game nights. Board games like Monopoly, Clue, or Risk were always nearby, ready for laughter and friendly competition. And of course, the television. A large wooden console TV sat proudly in the living room. Built-in speaker, storage, and a big screen. Entertainment was changing, and homes were changing with it. In the 1960s, cocktail culture was alive and well. A stylish bar cart in the living room was a must. It was stocked with bottles of liquor, fancy glassware, and recipe cards. Everything you needed to impress guests, right at your fingertips. But drinks weren't the only exotic touch. Many homes had a Taiki-themed corner, complete with bamboo furniture, colorful mugs, and even a mini tiki bar. Polynesian culture had taken over pop culture and made its way into suburban homes. The 1960s kitchen. Welcome to the kitchen, the hub of the home. By the 1960s, appliances were all about convenience. Dishwashers, electric stoves, and fridges with ice makers became standard. Cabinets were often made of sleek wood or laminate, and countertops, or mica, with fun splashes of turquoise or red. On every counter, chrome was king. Toasters, coffee percolators, stand mixers, even canister sets, all shiny, metallic, and modern. And there it was, the rotary phone, usually mounted right on the wall. Its color often matched the kitchen decor. Because in the 1960s, style was everywhere, even in the smallest details. Dishes and dining culture. Remember melamine dishes? In the 1960s, they were in every kitchen, lightweight, durable, and full of color. Patterns ranged from floral to country style, all bold, all fun. Then came Tupperware, the food storage revolution. These airtight containers were everywhere. On counters, in cabinets, in avocado green or burnt orange. And those lids. You had to press them down just right to get that perfect seal. And for entertaining, nothing beat a fondue set. A bubbling pot of melted cheese or chocolate. A set of long forks, and a table full of smiling guests. It was the ultimate party centerpiece. Simple, social, and delicious. Kitchen clocks in bedrooms look up in the kitchen. You'd probably see a wall clock, but not just any clock. These were stylish, often mid-century, modern, or Art Deco. Analog faces, sweeping hands. Both form and function in one. Now, let's walk into the bedroom. Wood paneling covered the walls, giving the room a warm and cozy feel. The bed was usually full or queen size, topped with a floral bedspread and neatly tucked pillows. Heavy curtains dressed the windows, often tied back during the day to let in soft light. Everything felt simple, but thoughtful. Kids' rooms and classic toys step into a kid's bedroom in the 1960s. A small twin bed, neat and tidy. Shelves lined with toys, many of which are now vintage treasures. You'd find original Barbie dolls, an easy-bake oven, and G.I. Joe action figures. There were Matchbox cars, Lincoln Logs, and Erector sets, all fueling young imaginations. For sports lovers, it was all about baseball and football. A glove leaned against the wall, a bat in the corner. Maybe a football proudly displayed on a shelf. These rooms were simple, but full of life. A child's world, frozen in time. Outdoor spaces and neighborhood vibe. Let's step outside into the yard. The grass was neatly trimmed. A small white fence may have framed the garden. Children played hopscotch on the driveway, while bicycles rested near the porch. Lawn chairs and a charcoal grill sat on the patio, ready for summer cookouts and lemonade afternoons. The smell of freshly cut grass. The sound of a neighbor's radio in the distance. It wasn't just about the house. It was about the whole neighborhood. It's a time when doors were left unlocked and kids came home when the streetlights turned on. Closet and fashion inside the home. Now let's peek inside the closet. Clothes in the 1960s were full of character. Bold colors, playful patterns, and sharp tailoring. Men's suits hung neatly next to crisp white shirts. Ties and wild prints added a pop of personality. For women, floral house dresses, high-waisted skirts, and pastel blouses lined the racks. Shoes were stacked below. Polished loafers, shiny pumps, and maybe a pair of saddle shoes. And let's not forget the everyday essentials. Slippers by the bed. A bathrobe hanging on the back of the door. Even in fashion, the 1960s felt fresh, fun, and full of flair. Down in the basement, there was a whole other world. Sometimes it was a rec room, with a pool table, wood-paneled walls, and maybe even a bar. Other times, it was for storage. Holiday decorations, canned goods, and old toys packed away in boxes. And in the garage, you'd find Dad's workbench, lined with hammers, screwdrivers, and jars filled with nails. Maybe a rust-red toolbox. Maybe a radio playing soft tunes in the background. Bicycles leaned against the wall, and a push mower waited for weekend chores. It wasn't just a place for the car. It was a space for tinkering, fixing, and making things by hand. Bathrooms and closing message. Even the bathroom had its own 1960s charm. Pastel colors were everywhere. Pink, mint, green, soft blue. Used for sinks, toilets, even bathtubs. Ceramic tiles often matched the fixtures, creating a smooth, stylish look. And inside the medicine cabinet, Mom's trusted remedies. Mercurochrome, castor oil, iodine. All lined up, ready to fix just about anything. As we wrap up our tour, remember, these homes weren't just about decor. They reflected a time of change. The 1960s were hopeful, bold, and full of personality. A decade that dared to dream and decorate differently.